Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Phi and this is Money Philosophy. Thank you for coming back for another day of Tesla analysis. Today we will take a look at technical analysis using weekly, daily, hourly charts to project the price target for Tesla for next week. We will also look at the volume together with the price action for the past week and see whether or not Tesla has resumed bullish. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I am a growth stock investor and a trader. I love investing and trading in Tesla, and I'd love to share with you my investing and trading journeys. Also, if you have not already, please consider joining my Patreon page. The link is down below where we can navigate the next bull run together. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So here's the daily chart for Tesla. The volume for Friday was 140%, which was very encouraging. The volume bar here is predominantly buy volume. So a lot of traders and institutional investors and traders have started to buy into Tesla over the last week, but particularly so on Friday. The RSI right now looks to be somewhat overbought, so it might retrace a little bit on Monday or it might not, depending on the opening price action. If it does retrace to relieve a little bit of buying pressure here, I wouldn't be surprised if it will quickly close that gap and then end the day above 906. If it does end the day above 906, which is currently 50 days SMA, that is extremely good news for the bulls, and I can see more upside from here. Before we dive into daily chart deeper, let's take a look at the weekly chart. I shared with you the weekly chart on my Thursday video. It was very promising, but as Tesla ended the week, this weekly chart is incredibly bullish. Ended the week right at 50 days SMA, which is not a bad sign at all, but I do want to see Tesla stay above 50 days SMA, which is right now at 906 comes Monday. Last week, I also walked you guys through the calendar for Tesla delivery and the possibilities thereof. We also reviewed the last two times where Tesla had delivery result and the stock price action for 10 to 14 days leading up to that delivery result. So once again, we are less than 2 weeks from the end of the quarter and about 2 weeks from the announcement of Q1 2022 delivery. So I do think that Tesla is due for a big run this coming week and the week after, assuming volume and momentum is still there. So once again, the weekly chart looks incredibly bullish with this bullish engulfing candle. So I do think that Tesla will be back above 906 and continue to spike above that. The next resistance right now is 954 and then 1047. I know there might be another mini resistance around 989 or so, but I think there's a clear path from 954 to $1,047. Above that, we're looking at 1105, 1189, and then back to all-time high of 1243. I know as we stand today, Tesla's barely at 50 days SMA, and it is only at 905 to end the week. So from here until 1243 seems like an aggressive prediction, but as you know, when Tesla runs, it runs vigorously. And let's not forget that Giga Austin has begun production of saleable vehicles, so it's just a matter of time before we can see the capacity or the efficiency level of Giga Austin. Granted that it is currently ramping, so it does not have the same efficiency of Fremont, but in the long run, it will surpass Fremont and Shanghai. Let's go back to the daily chart here. One thing to note here is that we have 4 days in a row where Tesla has been very green and bullish. This could be the beginning of a bull flag, and so if Tesla consolidates right around $906 level here, once again 50 days SMA, that is not the end of the world. In fact, that is incredibly bullish. Assuming Tesla consolidates around here for a couple more days, that is an excellent opportunity for us to enter into call options or to acquire more shares. planning for the next leg up. So if Tesla consolidate between, let's say, $880 to about $920, that is still consolidation range in my mind. If Tesla go back down to retest 200 days SMA right now at $847, that is not too terrible, but of course that is a little bit scary because it could always reverse, right? Given the macroeconomics environment, which has ticked up a little bit based on the S&P 500 and the QQQ last week, I'm hoping that Tesla is not going to reverse. So if Tesla does retest 200 days SMA at 847, that is an excellent opportunity to also enter a call option for the short term leading into Q1 delivery result. So once again, this is a bull flag in the making, and I am waiting for Tesla to consolidate. If Tesla consolidates for a few days, it minimizes the volatility and it give us better opportunity and better premium to enter call option. If Tesla move down vigorously on Monday, that is also a good opportunity to enter call option. Of course, if Tesla gaps up on Monday, I would be waiting a little bit. If you are in my Patreon group, you know that I have been entering a call option on Friday when Tesla started the day slightly in the red or flat, because the assumption is that Tesla is going to reach for the 50 days SMA. So following my Thursday video last week where I mentioned that I would be contemplating an April 1st expiration for $910 strike, that's what I did for Friday, and I continue to hold on to that call option. But for now, for another entry opportunity, I would say I will wait for Tesla to consolidate by the end of Monday or by the end of Tuesday. I'm hoping that Tesla doesn't run yet, giving us another couple of days of a window of opportunity here. But if Tesla gaps up, then I expect it to retrace a little bit around 950. And when it does retrace, that is also a good opportunity to enter a call option. Look at the hourly chart here. So the hourly chart here, as you can see, on Friday, the upper pivot point coincide with 50 days SMA, once again pointed out on my Thursday video, and Tesla did hit that. On Monday, this upcoming week, the upper pivot point is 933. The middle pivot point is 893, and the bottom pivot point is 879. So all three pivot points seems to be pointing to a higher price action on Monday. I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla consolidate between the upper pivot point and the middle pivot point here, right around this area here. And I'm hoping that Tesla will continue to do so on Tuesday, giving another opportunity to enter call options, as I mentioned. The volume in the last hour seems to have a little bit of sell volume because the RSI on the hourly here has been moving up really fast for the first few hours of the day. So it kind of dipped a little bit in the back half of the day. If Tesla retrace a little bit to around 893 on Monday, I think that's an excellent opportunity to enter call options or shares. If for whatever reason, I doubt it, but for whatever reason, Tesla get to 880, that is the bottom pivot point, and that is a strong support, at least in the short term, for any trade consideration to the upside. So let's take a look at some options here. So if you are looking at, let's look at April 1st, which is 2 weeks from last Friday. April 1st, right at the money right now is around 905. Premium is around 3,800, give or take. So you get 2 weeks and you're right at the money, right? If Tesla makes it to 1054, let's go back to my daily chart and look at the resistance point here. My next resistance above 50 days SMA, as pointed out, is 954, and then a one above that is 1047. So for all intents and purposes, let's look at 950 and 1050 strike price. So 950, 2 weeks out, you're looking at around $1,900 in premium, which is not too bad. And 1050 we're only looking at about $360, give or take. That is also a decent bet, but of course, way riskier because that is about $150 from here. I do think Tesla has the capability to get there within the next 2 weeks, leading into Q1 delivery result. But I do think that the chance of us losing the entire 350, 360 is also higher. So I would go a little bit closer to the money for a short-term call option. So anything between 910 and 950, I think is a decent chance to catch a big spike. If Tesla retraces on Monday, first thing in the morning, I think that's an excellent opportunity to enter. Any premium below this level right now is fairly decent. So I just sort all of my stocks on the watch list by volume just to kind of share with you the stocks that have over 100% volume as of Friday. So Tesla at 140%, but if you look at Google, 116%, Amazon 122% with relatively green day on Friday. We also have Salesforce, CRM at 163%, Square 159%, Zoom 158%, Shopify 158%. NVIDIA 141%, Lemonade 142%. So I think next week we will see a very bullish week given the price action of bullishness on Friday together with volume. Most notably, let's take a look at Shopify here just for reference here. On the daily chart, look at Shopify. What a beautiful chart that was. And the last minute on Friday, there must have been an imbalance of buy and sell volume. So Shopify swing 18% alone on Friday, which is not unusual for Shopify, but it is also very bullish for Shopify here. Note that the RSI here is extremely overbought, so I expect Shopify to retrace down a little bit before going further. Shopify has another gap to fill, and that gap is from $799 to $860. This was the earnings gap from last time. So if you notice right here, it gapped down after earnings and it went all the way down, right? So it needs to fill that gap on the way up, and that would be $860. So there's still opportunity to trade and to own Shopify on a short-term level, and we can deep dive into Shopify on my Patreon page. But for right now, I think Shopify will probably retrace a little bit given the RSI and then continue to spike further. Take a look at the QQQ that represents the NASDAQ for perspective here. To start, it had 107% in volume, also over 100%. The volume was predominantly buy volume, and so was the rest of last week, which was really good news for the bulls. Right now, it is trying to spike above 50 days SMA, and 50 days SMA right now is right around $351 where it ended the week. If you notice here, the QQQ made a death cross at the end of February here, right after the war broke out on February 24th, on February 28th. The QQQ made a death cross and continued to go down all the way to making the bottom for now on March the 14th. Am I calling the bottom, or am I saying from now on we're only going to see upward trajectory? Not necessarily. I'm only going to take 1 day and 1 week at a time for right now. For as long as the QQQ can stay right around $350 area, it is potentially going to spike higher. And it also shares a similar story with Tesla, which is the bull flag in the making here. And if you also notice here, these two candles right here looks like one white soldier, which is a very bullish pattern. It is a bottoming pattern with a reversal in the making here. And sure enough, it starts spiking in the last few days. So that is a good pattern here for the QQQ. I do think that it will consolidate for a couple more days, if not going higher. If the QQQ makes it back to above 200 days SMA right now at 368, then that is extremely good news. And I think that it will continue to go higher to 375 and then 399. For right now, it needs to stay right at $350 for consolidation. And if it does spike further, it needs to also stay above 368. So QQQ is a little different from Tesla because the death cross was made. So I'm a lot more conservative and careful when it comes to reviewing the QQQ. Unlike with Tesla, the death cross has not been made yet. Interestingly, for SPY, which is the ETF representing the S&P 500, the volume was only 89% on Friday. It also had 4 consecutive green candles here and a decent one white soldier pattern here, but the volume wasn't huge. Keep in mind that the technology sector was beaten up really terribly, leading into interest rate decisions. And so it makes sense that it would bounce a little bit more vigorously than the S&P 500. However, this is still very encouraging for the S&P 500. Once again, the last 4 days was predominantly by volume. And if you take a look at the weekly chart for the S&P 500, it also tells a very similar story with Tesla and the QQQ, which is a bullish engulfing candle. And in the case of the S&P 500, it is now above 50 days SMA, which is at 442, and it is striving for 445, which is almost 200 days SMA. So it is almost at that level right now. So that is pretty encouraging. Now, I gotta be candid in pointing out that if the S&P 500 cannot get to above 453, if it consolidate above around 453 here, that would be a head and shoulder, and it could be a dangerous bearish pattern. For right now, I'm hoping that it will go all the way back up to about 466 and do not stop at 453 level. Tesla here, let me take a look at other call options for those that are interested in longer term holding. So I'm looking at March 2023. And if I'm looking at, let's say, $1,100, all-time high was $1,243. So I think $1,100 is achievable. Remember, the resistance right now is $950 and $1050, right? So $1,100 for a year from now is actually not too bad of a strike price. It is about $14,500, give or take. That is not a bad number at all. If you're looking at a little further out, $1,200 is about $12,000 and $1,300 is about, give or take, $9,600. That is also not a bad bet. However, $1,300 will be a new all-time high. And I get a little nervous with something that is way too out of the money, right? This is $400 out of the money. But keep in mind that that is less than 50% return from 900. And so I think it's completely achievable for Tesla to get to 50% return within the next year or so. If you want to go the furthest out, we have January 2024, and that gives us almost 2 years out. $1,100 right now is at about $23,000. This is also a decent play if you want to buy far out all the way to 2024. This will capture 2023 vehicle delivery, which pretty much captures Shanghai, Berlin, and Austin, with Austin and Berlin almost going to be at full ramp up by the end of 2023. So that could be an amazing number, not to mention by then Tesla might have a new gigafactory starting to produce something as well. So January 2024, the farthest expiration date we have is a potentially very good play if you want to hold your option a little bit longer. Again, $1,200 here. at around 20,000 or 21,000, give or take. That is not a bad idea at all. With January 2024, I'd be willing to go a little bit further out the money. So if you look at 1,400 or 1,500, that's not the end of the world. 1,400 is right now around 16,000. 1,500 is around 14,500, give or take. The thing with further out the money and further expiration date is that if Tesla has an okay run in the next couple of days, 2 to 3%, you're not going to see a huge jump in your premium. Of course, you're not playing for a short-term spike. You're playing for a much longer-term play for Tesla. But in my mind, it is very encouraging to see your option run vigorously if Tesla catches a decent day of 3 to 4 to 5% hike, right? So I think if you want to get a little bit of an excitement catching the next 2 weeks of bullish run, I would go a little bit closer to the money and closer to the current date. So maybe March 2023 or even sometime in 2022 is not a bad idea. For right now, given that we have a Q1 2022 delivery is around the corner, I would even contemplate April 1st or April 8th expiration date, as I've shared. If you want more details, a little bit more analysis on a more regular basis, check out my Patreon page below. So this is it for this video. Thank you very much for paying attention thus far. If you have any question or comment, feel free to jot them down below. I appreciate all of your constructive feedback over the last few months, and I am working to improve the quality of both my audio, my video, as well as the content that I have for you guys. Once again, thank you very much to each and every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Bye.